my dude?
What's going on?
Hey, yeah, same old. Just 3 shots in the period.
Yeah, kind of a nightmare start there to that one.
Yeah. I mean, what was it like? Just over a minute into the game, and Montreal scored, which we always say is the plan, but kind of a bad plan.
Yeah, but not the way that they scored. I mean, it was good that the team bounced back and kind of limited their shots for a bit after that. Were able to tie it up after a good forecheck there and a really good pass and work off the boards there by Hoglander. Nice to see him get an assist and also JT Miller to beat a goaltender for the first time in a while. That's really good stuff. This is definitely the kind of game that this team needed. A young Montreal Canadiens team with a lot of energy, a lot of emotion, some physical players. They're not afraid to back down, so they came out hitting hard, hitting our young guys, and so it got our guys back into the game quickly, which is good. The end of the period, kind of Montreal pushing back a little bit. I didn't like the penalty kill. Even though we killed it off, we were kind of collapsing a little deep and letting Montreal kind of move in and get some dangerous chances there. So overall, good road period to be tied, but definitely some stuff to clean up there around the net and on the breakout.
I feel like I want to give the penalty kill an up and a down because it felt like half of it they were just like they were in the Montreal zone. They were forechecking, they were stealing the puck. Tyler Myers does a ill-advised shot far side top corner, which didn't end up screwing them, but it could have. And then when they were in their zone, suddenly they, like you said, they were collapsing too much. They felt like they were a little bit scattered. How can you be so Jekyll and Hyde on one penalty?
I think it's just you get set up in their end, killing some minutes off, and then when they rush back in and you have to come back as well and set up, you are a little bit tired. And also the way the Canadians move the puck around, you really got to be moving quick, and it started to collapse us down as the Canadians moved forward deeper into the zone, and you got to be careful with that because when they're moving the puck around quick like that, you start to collapse trying to take away those cross seam passes. But then what you do is you leave the slot open or the blue line open for some big shots. So you gotta be aware of what's happening, but definitely they will probably be talked to about that in the intermission about collapsing too much. But overall, obviously a good kill when you don't give up a power play or a power play goal against, but definitely some things that could have led to a goal there.
The call itself even was a little because they called it a slash, but it was like the stick got tangled up in the guy's legs, but they're calling that a slash. Like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, it just kind of looked like a puck battle that you see about 10 times a game. Puck coming out the boards, a forward trying to work against the defenseman to get the puck. And so it was a little unusual for me to see that one get called. We've been seeing a shift in the officiating in the NHL where more of those battle plays are getting called and a lot of cross checks are getting called. There was one the other day in an Ottawa Senators game that was just an atrocious one as well, where it was just a little shove and they called it a cross check. So I don't know where this mandate has come from, but clearly they've been told to start calling things a little differently, and it's leading to obviously some frustration as fans when you see things that we're not accustomed to from a game that's supposed to be, physical and a contact sport.
Lekermacki, what'd you think of him so far? Because I feel like he got pretty limited. Like he only played under 4 minutes. I think it looks like they've taken him off the top line already. What did you think? Obviously, he took a big hit to start. I mean, probably just getting his feet wet again at this NHL pace.
Yeah, I think he might have maybe got his bell rung a little bit. He might have lost some wind. He got smoked there right in the chest. Just a good, clean, open ice hit on a young guy who's not accustomed to that. So it might have just been he needed a little breather, and then that in turn shuffled the lines up a little bit. So we'll see what happens coming into the second period here, but I don't foresee him. He didn't really do anything to deserve getting demoted. There was too short a duration in the period for that to happen. So I think it was more an issue of he got rocked and maybe just needed a few minutes, which caused a shuffle in the lineup. But that remains to be seen. We'll see what happens coming out in the second period if he's back with Miller and Bess, or if he's moved down the line.
Well, then Hoglander too. I felt like in the moment I was like, why are you not deferring to Hughes? Because Hughes is back and you're not giving him the puck. And he kept the puck and he gave it to JT Miller and it goes back in the net. So even though he hasn't been scoring, that's a couple of assists for him in the last couple. Well, not last game because they got shut out, but the game before he got the assist. And he's starting to get some points on the board, not necessarily goals, but it's nice to see him contributing on the score sheet in some fashion.
Yeah, and with contributing comes confidence, and the goals are coming. He's getting close. He's had some real good chances, and getting those assists, it means you're helping your team. So that takes a little bit of the weight off your shoulders. And so all he just needs one to go through, get the monkey off the back, and then I'm sure he will be showing us more of the Hoglander we saw last year. He's been working his butt off, trying to stay out of the doghouse, doing all the right things, and he's getting closer and closer every game, which is really nice to see.
Before we move on to Willander, I did want to ask you because Jacob was asking who your favorite player of all time was, and I don't know if we got an answer from you on that one.
My favorite player of all time. So, for me, as a young kid, the player that got me hooked on the Canucks was Pavel Bure. But then, obviously, going through your times as a Canucks fan, it changes and that. But of all time, it's my boy Kevin Bieksa. I've always loved the style of hockey he played growing up as a defenseman, playing minor hockey as a defenseman, and then playing men's hockey, playing the blue line. I just loved the way he approached the game. I loved the type of teammate that he was, and so he just always was a huge role model for me. So he's always been my favorite.
Cool. Tom Willander, junior champions over. Unfortunately, Sweden doesn't end up even getting a medal. Let's talk about first his overall play through the tournament, and then let's talk about the controversy around the penalty that was taken in overtime. But let's start off with his play in general. What was the general consensus about Tom Willander through the World Junior Championship?
I mean, he had the second most ice time of all players in the entire tournament. So that tells you he was doing all the right things defensively, and also finding ways to contribute offensively. He was fourth among defensemen for points in the tournament, which is great, especially when he's on a line with ASP there, who is racking him up as well. Of course, as you said, it didn't end the way Sweden wanted, not even medaling, but some very good signs of another elite defender in the prospect pool for the Canucks. You know, to play that much ice time and to really help his team, it was really nice to see. So pretty much all the scouting that has been done on him and all the information we've been given, it was nice to see it in a short little, of course, tournament, but you get a better look at the growth of him as a player.
Yeah, and then let's talk a little bit about the controversy of the penalty because it was one of those calls where it's like, why was that a penalty? And then suddenly Sweden's down in overtime and they end up losing that game on the power play. Just another case of international reffing versus North American reffing, or what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think probably more of that. Obviously, there are some different stipulations within the rules where they get called a little differently than the NHL. You see it most of the time around the crease and things like that, and then there are some penalties that are a little bit different. But you know, there's always going to be penalties here or there that we don't agree with. That's just natural with the fact that we have human refs, and they're going to make mistakes here or there, or make a judgment call that not everyone agrees with. And so that is something that we are used to as Canucks fans. And so, yeah, it is what it is at that point, and you just have to do your best to work through it and push through it and work through the adversity. But it's never easy emotionally when you feel like you shouldn't be penalized, but you need to find a way to fight through it and and get over it and move on.
Yeah, see how he rebounds from that. Obviously, going back to his college team to get back into their season. So maybe we will get a little sneak preview of Willander at the end of the season. You never know when his season ends. We're hoping maybe in the AHL. You never know. Depends on what's happening with the Canucks.
Exactly.
Quinn Hughes is back, and immediately another player leaves the lineup. Joshua's out. What's up with the revolving door of the Canucks right now? Is just timing, luck, like Canucks luck? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, I think for all of the luck we got last year with players not getting hurt, it's kind of catching up with us, and the universe is just balancing itself out. Can't really catch a break. It just seems like game after game, and it's not major plays. Like there's no like big hits or egregious suspensions that are happening against us that are causing these injuries. They're just freak moments, like Hronek hitting the dasher wrong with his shoulder and putting it out, and Joshua just kind of getting bumped wrong by another hit by the player falling down who fell into Joshua. Like he wasn't even completing the hit. There's all these moments where it's like just freak things happening, and it's just kind of been one of those years, and it's hard when you have such a successful year as we did last year, especially with the struggles that this organization has had leading up to the playoff run we had last year, and coming within one game of the conference finals. So as fans, we have to be realistic with the amount of adversity this team has faced, and the fact that we're still holding on to a wild card spot with the number of man games we've lost is a testament to the coaching and the systems that we have built. But that being said, it's still a little bit scary to be in the situation that we're in, because we obviously want to go on to be in the playoffs, and if all these players do get healthy late in the season, it could all be for naught if we're not in the picture.
Yeah, I'm sick of injuries. I'm a 49ers fan as well. And for everyone who doesn't follow the NFL, my 49ers have, at one point, I think they had like $135 million in roster sitting on the sidelines injured. So it's been a rough year for my teams in general. So maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. Taylor told me that I was the problem. So
So in that sense, then, so like you should get hats for every other team in the league and just wear them when you're streaming, and then something bad will happen for them instead of the Canucks. You can still be a Canucks fan and just
just
call it
try
like
and
it is,
mask the
but hey,
universe,
you
right?
just yeah, it's reverse psychology on Mother Nature, right?
So it's a topic that won't go away, but I wanted to get your opinion on it because I don't think I've straight up asked you this. We're not going to talk about like the supposed controversy and the supposed drama and blah, 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 but we've gotten to a point where even the GM is at this point says anything is possible. They're taking calls on Miller. They're taking calls on Petey. If you had to keep one of them today, which one are you keeping and which one are you trading? And let's just say, to make this situation easy, that this trade package we're getting back is reasonable for each one.
Oh man. Okay, so then you have to trade Miller.
Yeah.
Like in the situation, just all cards on the table, you cannot trade a 26-year-old centerman that gets you 100 points. They don't freaking grow on trees. You just can't do it. If you're getting a good return for Miller, then yes, you got to pull the trigger. But there's so many extra factors that go into this. Of course, we're sick of talking about it, but the real answer is you can't really trade either of them and get fair value back. These guys are two of the best centermen in the league, and they are having a difficult year at the same time. If one of them was struggling and one of them was still performing at the top of their game, we wouldn't even be having this conversation, because the other player would be able to pick that player up. But they're both struggling at the same time and fighting through their own demons and fighting through their own things. And with all this outside noise saying that it's them hating each other and blah, 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 or whatever, it makes it really difficult. But you can't trade away those two pieces, because what are you going to get back that can actually make your team better than it is right now with both of them on the team? At the end of the day, you really just got to sit these guys down in front of the media and say, look, there's nothing here at the end of the day, yeah, they don't go home and hang out, but they are here for the common goal, and that is to win. They both have their own struggles, and they just need to sit down and do it together. Everyone just needs to do it together. Stop the one-on-one. The GM says some things, and then the coach says other things. At this point, it starts to feel like the organization is manipulating these two players into figuring it out before they actually are serious about trading them.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking too. Is that now the GM and the Rutherford have stepped in and kind of said, okay, we're going to put stuff out there, because then if there is anything going on, which I don't think it's all that much of a thing, that I think it's blown out of proportion for what is actually going on. I think that they finally put that information out there to try and get them to actually sit down and deal with it.
Yeah, I think it's hugely blown out of proportion. I think it's affecting these guys emotionally, and I mean, how could it not? They both are winners at the core. I mean, they both work their butts off on and off the ice. At the end of the day, they just want the best for themselves and the team, and we really just gotta hope they figure it out. At the end of the day, the Canucks are not a better team by trading either one of these players.
No. I think they're going to work it out. I don't think either one's getting traded, and I think it's time to ban Jeff Patterson from Canucks interviews, because I think he's one of the big problems in the media right now. Just randomly throwing shade right now at the end of this. But we didn't get to the Abbey Canucks. There is 2 games we got to talk about, and we can throw some more shade at Jeff Patterson after this, because he has done some questionable things over the years. But
well, there you go. Let's just start making enemies out there, right? That's how we gain followers.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, people who don't even necessarily like the Canucks, but maybe they actually hate Jeff Patterson, and that'll help us out. So, but I don't think Jeff Patterson's coming on the Nothing Is Perfect anytime soon. So,
all right. Well, enjoy the second. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, sounds good, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
Nothing is perfect.